Nintendo has reported an upturn in profits and sales for the fiscal year ended March 2019, despite the Switch just missing out on its revised full-year sales target of 70 million units. The Japanese console maker saw net sales rise by 13.7% year-on-year to 1.2 trillion yuan, $10.75 billion, while profits increased by 39% to 194 billion yuan, $1.74 billion. Over the same period, Nintendo largely credits that upswing to strong software sales on the Nintendo Switch. The company had 23 million selling Switch titles across the entire year, with flagship releases like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, 13.81 million units, Pokémon Let's Go, 10.63 million units, and Super Mario Party, 6.4 million units. Leading the charge. On the hardware front, the annual Switch sales totaled 16.95 million units. That's just short of Nintendo's revised sales target of 17 million units, but a far cry from the company's initial goal of 20 million units. Lifetime Switch sales now stand at 44.74 million units. 3DS hardware sales, meanwhile, decreased by 62% year-on-year to 55 million units. Although it's worth remembering the handheld is 8 years old at this point, 3DS software sales suffered a similar fate, falling by 62.9% year-over-year to 13.22 million units. Glancing at Nintendo's digital business, the company said sales from download versions of retail software and download-only titles on Switch showed particularly good growth, and that overall digital sales revenue rose by 95.4% year-on-year to 118.8 billion yuan, $1 billion. On mobile, Nintendo's IP-related income rose by 17% year-over-year to 46.0 billion yuan, $111.8 million, and seemed particularly pleased with the performance of Double Lost. Looking forward, Nintendo expects the Switch to provide a foundation for further business growth, and is banking on software to continue driving the system forward. It hopes the impending releases of Nintendo Labo, Joy-Con Zero for VR-Kit, Super Mario Maker 2, and Fire Emblem Three Houses will give the system an immediate boost, before the likes of Pokémon Sword and Shield, Animal Crossing, and The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening step up to the plate. With that in mind, the company expects the Switch to sell another 80 million units in the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2020. Helping it achieve a net sales of 1.25 trillion yuan, $11.2 billion, and profits of 180 billion yuan, $1.6 billion. A few weeks ago, game designer Josh Schafer caught the attention of his colleagues when he posted a blog about the making of his new game At the Gates. In it, Schafer detailed how making At the Gates challenged his newly diagnosed ADHD, and how he had to aggressively reassert control over his work-life balance, in order to not have his own game kill him. With game developers more and more concerned about quality of life, and because Schafer's got a lot of insight into how Forex games are made, we were excited that he was down to chat about his experience over on the Giddy Twitch channel. If you are a game designer going through similar challenges, you should definitely watch the full conversation with Schafer, which you can now see up above. And for more developer interviews and curated video talks, be sure to follow the DD Twitch channel. Video Game Deep Kids is a weekly newsletter from video game industry, which Simon Carlos, DD, Gamasutra co-runner, rounding up the best long-read standout articles videos about games every weekend. This week's highlights include impressions of notable new titles, about the Totem Earl reboot, as well as the Lost History's writing jam, the history of the Game Over Scream, the effects of Brexit on the United Kingdom game biz, and lots more besides. Only 2 weeks till LGDC 2019 now. And lots of things slotting into place. The day of the Devs Showcase on site at the show is out of control for starters Spelunky Tour, Void Busters, After Party, Samurai Ken Tour, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, an unannounced Double Fine game, more, Sign Me Up, sirs, and lots more besides. Until next time, Simon, curator. How Reggie Fils-Aime became a Nintendo legend. Chris Coworked a cool article. In the spring of 2004, the public perception was that Nintendo was in deep trouble. Going into the company's E3 presentation in Los Angeles that year, fans wondered which of the company's heroes might appear in its time of need. To save it, Mario, Link. As it turned out, they did get a new hero, though not the one they expected. Out is the Soul-Bus-inspired power fantasy I did not know I wanted. Jeremy Winslow Polygon article. It's a simple idea that there's not way around it's welcome the entire game can be finished in around 5 hours. But do not mistake that as a complaint. Like a great elevator pitch, Out feels focused and purposeful, leaving me wanting more. How Football Manager helped a goalkeeper score for his country. People make games YouTube video. How Kai Mackenzie Lyle scored a last-minute header for a guy on a thanks to the video game, Football Manager. Battle Royale, the design secrets behind gaming's biggest genre, keeps to The Guardian article. Even though the visual styles and the narrative settings of these games are very different, the 4 giants of the genre adhere to a strict set of conventions. The islands are scattered with towns, villages, and industrial complexes. They all have rivers and bridges and offshore isles, and they are all roughly the same shape. But what makes them so compelling? $100 Camaria seller. It's probably the ROM of long-term to sell. Kai Rowland On's technical article last week. A copy of the first printing of Super Mario Bros. In pristine condition sold are just over $100. This week, the collector who sold that gem told us that has been preparing for this moment for years. The seller, who asked to remain anonymous to protect his privacy, but goes by the handle Brownty Online, told us he did not even have NES growing up. The 160 podcast, Gaming Goes Mainstream, Mark Andreessen, the 160 podcast. So in this episode of the 160 podcast, Mark Andreessen interviews Activision's Bobby Kotick on everything from the evolution of video games in the 1980s to gaming trends more broadly. What changes as gaming goes from just fun to just for kids, and spreads more broadly into entertainment and cultural phenomena, esports, Fortnite, Pokemon Go, etc. Both online and offline. Simon, as note, originally from a conference late last year, but a vanishingly rare contact chat, with an interesting non-game interviewer. Retro Histories, the first Game Over, Chris Chapman Retro Histories YouTube video. Here's the new release. A short look at the etymology of the expression that, perhaps, best epitomizes the field of gaming for the largest number of people, and how it goes back further than we might guess. Life after harassment, next Silent Hill death. Tom Hewlett speaks out. Vicky Blake Eurogamer article. Hewlett popped up in the fandom sometime around the spectacularly not good Homecoming. I did not want to be seen as the Homecoming guy. Do you spend the last 2.5 years trying to fix it to no avail. But it was with Shattered Memories the series, only for it into motion control on Nintendo Way, that his name became synonymous with the series. Sadly, for all the wrong reasons, a quantum of wobble, with Robin Baumgarten, Joe Messinger, Michael C. Town podcast. In this episode, Robin wobbles on over to talk about Line Wobbler, Wobble Garden, Quantum Garden, and all the weird questions that they raise about what the hell games on art on arcades and galleries even are at this point in history.